I'm Jason, UFC, and today we have a story about UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya hopes Dricus Du Plessis beats Robert Whittaker at UFC 290, but doesn't think Dricus Du Plessis will. Oh my goodness. UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya hopes Dricus Du Plessis emerges as the number one contender at UFC 290. Dricus Du Plessis, who is 5-0 in the UFC, meets Robert Whittaker, former UFC middleweight champion, on July 8th at T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas. Israel Adesanya said he was ready to defend his title against Dricus Du Plessis, but the promotion, UFC, opted to make the South African, I don't really like when they say that, to make Dricus Du Plessis have to get through former UFC middleweight champion Robert Whittaker first. I tried to do Dricus Du Plessis in the Death Star. Israel Adesanya said on his very popular YouTube channel. Go and subscribe to Israel Adesanya YouTube channel. Maybe not International Fight Week because it was already booked, but I tried it for later on. I was like, F it, just give him to me because it's already there. What's the point? Why wait? I gotta come back to that because I totally agree. Israel Adesanya's desire to fight Dricus Du Plessis stems from Dricus Du Plessis, who is South African native, recent comments where Dricus Du Plessis, said he would be the first true, I really don't want to go into this too far, but I'm going to just say this paragraph and move on, that Dricus Du Plessis would be the first true African UFC champion since he still lives in Africa, whereas Nigerian-born Adesanya and Kamaru Usman left as young kids. I'm not going to get into that conversation. I'm not. But Israel Adesanya doesn't give Dricus Du Plessis too big of a chance to get past Robert Whittaker. I don't think anyone does. Robert Whittaker can probably get him out of there in the second round or just beat him up for 3 rounds. Dricus Du Plessis, that's what Israel Adesanya says. Dricus, only chance, I don't like to say there's no way because there's always a way, but he can't outlast Robert Whittaker. I think Robert will be faster than him, fitter than him. So yeah, he might just have to make it ugly. Rob knows how to fight ugly as well. I would say 70%, 70% Robert, I would say 85% Robert Whittaker wins, but I really want Dricus. Maybe that's why I'm being biased. How is he being biased? He's saying there's a 30% chance. That's bias? Like, is he being biased to Whittaker? I don't get that last, hold on, let me read it one more time. He says, I would say 70% chance Robert Whittaker wins, but I really want Dricus. Maybe that's why I'm being biased. I don't really get what he's talking about there. If Whittaker does beat Dricus Du Plessis, Israel Adesanya will have to fight him for a third time. The last stylebender already defeated, obviously, Robert Whittaker twice in 2 title fights, one by knockout, the second time by unanimous decision at UFC 271. Israel Adesanya is targeting his return to fight at UFC 293 on September 10th in Sydney, Australia. I think there's another story there. Adesanya said it's in a new city in Australia, another stadium, right? We don't have to go too far with who is going to win between Robert Whittaker and Dricus Du Plessis. It's going to be a good fight, right? It's going to be a good fight. I'm a fanboy of Robert Whittaker. I always support Bobby Knuckles. I still call him Bobby Knuckles. I still call him Bobby Knuckles. That's my boy. So I'm supporting Robert Whittaker. Personally, I did not think Dricus Du Plessis looked great in his performance versus Derek Brunson. Even though he defeated Brunson, I believe it was the second round. I had some money on Dricus Du Plessis, and after the first round, I thought he was going to lose. I was really worried. Felt like he was breathing pretty heavy, but he ended up finishing Derek Brunson in the second round. But like I said, I wasn't too impressed with that performance. Now he's scheduled to fight Robert Whittaker at UFC 290 International Fight Week. The question is, who is Israel Adesanya gonna fight? Right? If you have a number one contender fight happening in July, and then Israel Adesanya targeting to come back in September, I super doubt that, the winner of this fight in July is going to go and fight Israel Adesanya in September. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, one of these guys are savages and, they get through this fight with a flawless victory and, 2 months later they could fight Israel Adesanya in a 5-round fight in Australia. So the question is, who does Israel Adesanya fight? Not too many competitors are left on the table. Sean Strickland is booked. Marvin Vettori is booked. Jared Cannonier is booked. Paulo Costa is booked. There's a lot of the names in the top 5 are already booked. Alex Pereira, he's left the UFC middleweight division. He's moved up to the UFC light heavyweight division. So the only name that I could personally think of out there, I'm an MMA casual, so I don't quote me here. But the only name that I personally can think of right now, just me personally, just throwing it out there, would be Israel Adesanya versus at UFC 293 in Australia, because, like I said, Robert Whittaker versus Dricus Du Plessis, UFC 290, that's the number one contender fight. They'll fight, later on. But if Israel Adesanya is going to fight at UFC 293, I think the fight he may have may be Hamza Chimaev. Am I wrong about that? Am I just wishful thinking? I don't know. If Chimaev and Kamaru Usman seem to be going back and forth. It seems like that fight is more likely to happen, but I can't think of any opponents for UFC 293 with Israel Adesanya. Like I said, I'm an MMA casual, but so I can't really name too many names in the UFC middleweight division, but I can't think of any other names right now in the UFC middleweight division that will be fighting Israel Adesanya at UFC 293. If you have any names that you think Israel Adesanya is going to fight, throw it in the comment section. And I guess also, who do you think is going to win? Like I said, I'm at 85% Robert Whittaker is going to win. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are hoping for Dricus Du Plessis because they want to see Dricus Du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya. It's a new matchup. That would be fine, right? I have Robert Whittaker winning that fight, but let me know your opinion of this story. I'm Jason, UFC. Today we had a story about Israel Adesanya hopes Dricus Du Plessis defeats Robert Whittaker at UFC 290, but doesn't think Dricus Du Plessis will win. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the $1 donation button. And please tune in to the next video on this channel. Thanks a million for watching.